you've been here before, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen you on YouTube, and I've seen you, you know, on when you came here last time. I didn't have the privilege of being at school to actually meet you that day you came.
Okay.
So I do have like a couple questions because I did see your video.
Yeah.
And I couldn't really hear you that well with the whole, you know, microphone or whatever. So
okay.
I just want to know if like your whole philosophy, I respect it, it's whatever.
Yeah.
Are you like, what are you basing all of your beliefs off of?
The Bible.
Okay. And with that being said, do you think it's, what is your opinion? Do you think it's like okay morally? Well, of course it's okay, but do you think it's okay to like come into a public area and, you know, spread your beliefs when you're basing them off of a Bible? And I respect your religion. I'm a Christian myself.
Yeah.
But I acknowledge that the Bible is factual based off of what I believe is true and what my perception of reality and my perception of everything is.
Yeah.
So I feel like you're coming into a school, let alone high school, you know, spreading what you believe in your opinions.
It's not my opinions.
Well, they are. It's a religion, my guy. So like you're spreading them as though they are factual.
Well, because they are factual.
Well, if you can't say they're factual if you're basing it off of a religious book.
Well, the thing is that religious book is the only sure foundation for having. It's the only sure foundation for knowledge in the first place. So, like, I'm not just coming here spreading my opinions like, oh, I just believe this, I want you to believe it as well, I just want you to believe what I believe. I'm telling it to people because it's actually true.
Okay.
And it would be completely meaningless to just come to people and say, this is what you should believe, and I believe it, I just want you to believe it, so you should just believe it. Like, there's no reason to do that, right?
Okay, I get that. I totally understand.
It has to actually be true.
And it's, but for the record, I'm not saying that's what you're doing, but that is how it is I go here, so that's definitely how it's coming off. But let's rewind a little bit.
Okay.
You said that that's the foundation on what everyone believes and what everyone is factual. So where's your evidence backing that the Bible is what we base everything off of?
Well, I'm saying that knowledge of God is what underlies all of our beliefs. So we're all created by God with an innate knowledge of his existence. So we all know that God exists at a very basic level. I think many times it's subconscious.
Yeah.
So deep down, we all know that God exists. And because of that, we know that there's an orderly universe that we're operating in. We know that we can trust our perceptions of reality because we believe deep down that God created all of that to work together. And so knowledge of God undergirds all of our other beliefs.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel like that's also, I believe that, and you believe that, of course, but I feel like it takes a little perspective in order to understand that may not be what everyone else believes. Because I actually am in my, of course, and there are, of course, like scientific backings that state that most people, emphasis on most, they do believe that there is a higher power or something that is controlling what their conscience is saying to them and what their actions are motivated by. But at the same time, that conscious or what their subconscious is telling them that there is a higher power controlling whatever they are saying or whatever they're doing. That subconscious, you can't necessarily group that all into what the Bible is or all into what God is just because that's what you believe. And
yeah, well, so we all have a worldview. We all have a view of reality.
That's true.
And I'm not saying people just have this concept of a higher power. I'm saying that they actually know that the one true God of the Bible exists.
Okay.
And and so that's what the Bible indicates to us, and that's what I'm trusting in to make sense of reality. Other people, they basically trusting in their own minds, their own opinions about reality, and what they're trusting in, the worldview that they're trusting in, is a worldview in which finite, limited consciousness, their own mind, is the ultimate authority that they look to determine what's true about reality and what's not. And when they do that, they actually are embracing an absurd worldview that can't justify beliefs. Knowledge is justified true beliefs. When you know something, you believe it, and you're justified in believing it, and it's true. And so you believe that it's true, you're justified in believing that it's true, and it's true. That's what knowledge is. So when you trust in a worldview in which you know things, you think you know things through finite limited consciousness, when you're trusting in a mind that could always be wrong because it doesn't know everything, you can't justify any belief that you have, right? Because there could be something that your mind doesn't know that could invalidate everything you think you know. So that's why when these people, I know that these people are trusting in their own minds. They're trusting in a worldview in which an evolutionary worldview or some other type of religion that relies on finite limited consciousness. So I'm recognizing that, and I'm calling them away from that to trust in a worldview in which the all-knowing being informs our limited consciousness of what's true, and we can actually justify our beliefs with that worldview by looking to what the all-knowing being says to make sure we know it's true, instead of looking to what we think, because we could always be wrong. God has all the facts of reality in his mind. He has all the facts of reality in his mind. He never lies. Therefore, we can trust him. That's the worldview we should put faith in, instead of a worldview in which that doesn't exist and you can never really know it's true. You can never know it's true. So there's two different worldviews that you can put faith in.
Yeah, I understand that. That's a good, that's a, you know, I can see how you can see there's substance in that, but I'd also use that to counter and say that you could, you believe that, hypothetically speaking, what if I was one of these students that go here, or one of these cars passing, and I believe the exact same thing you believe, and with the exception being that I believe that there is a God, but not the God you believe in. Like, so you say that God is all-knowing, God is, you know, God never tells no lies, and of course I believe that. But there are some people here, and I believe it takes some perspective to know that there are some people who believe that there is no God, and even though you may have a logical backing to that, there is not necessarily a factual backing, and that's what, in order to convince people that what you believe is true, it's going to take a little more than a little bit of like, oh yeah, what I'm saying is true because I know God is true. What I'm saying is true is because I know that God said this, the Bible says this. It's going to take a little more, because like you said, these people believe in evolution. These people believe in, and so I think it takes going down to what they believe in and still being able to prove what you're saying is right. Because at the end of the day, it's still a religion. Yeah. And at the end of the day, there's still no way to necessarily factually prove what you say is true.
That's the thing, is that you can't prove anything unless God exists. So you're always putting faith in something in order to make sense of reality. Knowledge is justified true belief. You actually have to believe things in order to know things. Right. So they can't prove anything with their worldview that rejects the all-knowing being and his revelation, because they could always be wrong. They're trusting in finite limited consciousness that doesn't know everything, and therefore every time they look at something they think is a fact, they can't say it's a fact, because for all they know, that's an illusion in their consciousness. They can't know that their mind is giving them the correct perception of reality. Therefore, they can't prove anything with that worldview that they're trusting in. But in my worldview, I'm saying the evidence that God exists, the proof that he exists, is that if he didn't exist, there wouldn't be revelation from the all-knowing being to justify any belief that you have, and then therefore you could never be justified in any belief that you have, and you couldn't have knowledge. So as soon as you assert the idea of knowledge and proof, you must at the same time, in order to be consistent, believe that God exists and that he reveals to you the true nature of reality.
In order to state something so boldly as if it's fact, I believe it's going to take a little more than a hypothetical, because what you said was, if God did not exist, we would not have our perception of reality. And I believe if God didn't really exist, we wouldn't exist as people. But again, that's my revelation. That's my conviction. I believe that the other people who may believe something different, I believe that their perception of reality lies in not what if God didn't exist. It lies in, since God doesn't exist, this is happening. So I get what you're saying. And sometimes I think about life like that too. Like, what if everything we're saying is not true? Like, and I think I contradict like science and numbers and all that stuff. But those things have a stronger backing, and those things have more of a weight to what we perceive as factual than the Bible that was created and edited many times back in the day.
So all scientific facts,
gotcha.
You cannot have any scientific fact about anything if God doesn't exist. And people, if there's no revelation from the all-knowing being to tell you that he created you with a mind that can perceive reality correctly, every time these people who put faith in an evolutionary worldview, every time they do that, every fact that they think is a fact cannot be said to be a fact. They're not being consistent when they say they know something because they have no way of justifying it. Every time they do a science experiment, they can't know that they came out with a fact from testing something because that could be an illusion in their consciousness. They're trusting in finite, limited consciousness to justify their beliefs. They're putting blind faith in their own mind that that's an actual fact. But they can't they don't know that it's a fact. They just choose to believe that it is.
You gotta go. All right, well, it was a pleasure talking to you and seeing some insight on what you believe.
Yeah, you should come talk to me again. It's a good convo.
I will. I plan on it when I have a little more time.
Okay.
People, dragging me around.
Okay.
I look forward to speaking with you again and
yeah, man.
getting more of your, creative insight. All right?
Yeah, what's your name?
My name's Elijah.
My name's Matt.
Nice to meet you, Matt.
Good to meet you.